Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel where skincare is all about progression over perfection because perfection doesn't exist. Today I want to share some of the most, in my opinion, interesting failed beauty brands. I mean, these are mainly celebrity brands to be honest with you, bar one. And there's a couple weird reasons why these brands have failed. It is the evening, I've just showered, I've cleansed my face, and I'm going to be doing my evening routine alongside this. It's a no active day today, so I'm going to go in and tone my skin with the Hatamugi skin conditioner. This is just really nice at smoothing the skin, hydrating the skin, and putting it back in like a nice comfortable position. Let's get into, I think, the most recent release, and that is No Beauty by Madison Beer, and Vanessa Hudgens. I'm pretty sure this only launched 1 or 2 years ago, and I'll say that other than Brad Pitt's Grape skincare launch, this has to be one of the more random celebrity collaboration launches. Like, beautiful women, but I would never associate them with the cosmetics industry other than being vocal about cosmetic struggles, I guess you could say, their skin struggles. But then I wouldn't have even put them two together for a brand. So the whole thing was a little bit like, where's this come from? And they supposedly worked on this brand with a dermatologist called Karen Kager. And the whole concept behind this brand was a little bit strange, to be honest with you. You would do a DNA test and your results would come back and match you with a routine of their products, which was supposedly meant to be the perfect routine based on your DNA, what you're susceptible to, I guess. And now, I'm not sure how scientifically accurate matching your DNA to the perfect skincare routine really is, because I think people have to take into consideration external aggressors like pollution, sun damage. And it sounds clever, but it's also extremely gimmicky. And I'm all for a gimmick, but this was just a very odd gimmick. It was a very weird and time-consuming gimmick. I think the demographic for this brand, just judging by the website and the pictures and the packaging of the brand, was teens and young adults, because it just was. It looked like it was for kids. But also, in a world of next day delivery or even same days delivery in some places, it's a really odd brand or business concept to ask people to do a DNA test, then wait, I had a DNA test on it. It took 4 to 5 weeks for the results to come back. So let's say they got to wait 3 to 4 weeks for their DNA results to come back. And then they have to purchase their products online that have been recommended to them. They then have to wait for those products to arrive. So you've got to wait probably like over a month just to buy some skincare. And is it worth a supposedly perfect routine? Looking at the products, they weren't anything special, so I'm going to say no. And ultimately, this brand completely failed within a couple of years, and that's why I think the reasoning is. Even Vanessa Hudgens, who is now the sole owner of No Beauty, saying that they just struggled to get the consumer's interest. They just couldn't get it with that particular concept. So No Beauty is now an entirely different brand with Vanessa Hudgens as the sole owner, with only one product, stating, "I decided to focus on something specific that could easily be slotted into a skincare routine, something we can be known for." And that is a clay mask. How exciting. I'm going to hydrate my skin using Experiment Super Saturated. This is a mainly glycerin-based serum that I love to overuse and then struggle to get because it's always out of stock because everyone loves it so much. Just to really give my skin some hydration, some really, really deep hydration. Now, this is probably my favorite and the most iconic failed beauty brand or discontinued beauty brand of all time. Jessica Simpson Dessert. Oh my God, I love this. If you are a millennial, you probably remember Jessica Simpson and Nick Lachey's reality TV series, Newlyweds. Now, at the time, there was nothing like this. Like, reality TV was kind of like a new concept, and they were huge celebrities at the time. And on this program, you saw her create her brand, and this was a brand consisting of everything from fragrance to body creams to mists and even shampoo, with all the products being described as kissable and tasteable. A shout out to Pop Crush for having the original press release, which reads as such: "Dessert girls are full of sweetness and desire, and they don't mind getting their hair a little messed up in the name of seduction." The original press release read, "Sexy girls want a taste." That is the most 2000s press release I have ever heard. Back in those days, everything was being about sexy and, "Oh, you slut." There was an episode, and I believe it was on Newlyweds, one of the many iterations of their reality series where Jessica Simpson was doing the photo shoot for this new brand, and all day she was licking and eating these edible products. And the only bit I remember was her having to walk off set to throw up. I would honestly say that Jessica Simpson's main demographic back then was gay men and also young teenage girls and young adults, early adults, young adults. So to create this really highly sexualized, feminine brand was a really odd choice. But she was kind of the Kim Kardashian of the day back then. Before this predates Paris Hilton, where everything she endorsed and everything she touched pretty much turned into gold. The brand did great until a few lawsuits later. In 2004, Cosmojet, who manufactured the edible, tasteable cosmetics, sued Jessica Simpson, Desert Beauty Inc., and Sephora, claiming they were owed over $200,000 in manufacturing expenses. Throughout this lawsuit, it became pretty clear that Jessica Simpson was nothing but a face and a name slapped on the brand, as she was really trying to distance herself from this lawsuit, which honestly was very common back then. You know, you had celebrities doing like Head and Shoulders, like Neutrogena, and you didn't think they had anything to do with this brand other than slapping their face on it. And honestly, back then people were okay with it. Dessert stopped production then. It no longer existed until Jessica Simpson went on to create two new, essentially the same brands twice, called Dessert Treats and Sweet Kisses. However, despite actually selling okay, the brand's products were pretty dire, to be honest with you. When we look back at some of the reviews, they're not great, with people claiming that not only was the usage of the products kind of they were difficult to use, the smell also kind of became gross because you have all these like edible scents on your body that don't linger like a normal perfume. But in particular, one review claimed that the Kissable Belly Button perfume attracted bees. So don't use that. You can't, it's long gone anyway, but don't. My moisturizer, the Astura Ato Barrier 365 Cream, great for a damaged skin barrier. I pretty much use it every night or so anyway, just as my default moisturizer. Next up is Functional Beauty, and honestly, I completely forgot they existed until I was going back through some of my videos and I saw a brand review for them, and I was like, what? The shampoo brand? And I will say this is kind of more my opinion than any proof that we have. But I have not seen anyone talk about Functional Beauty skincare for maybe 2 years. When you search Function of Beauty skincare on YouTube, I think the last video to come up talking about it was almost 2 years ago, and mine's in there somewhere with them. Then after that, it pretty much just goes silent. Now, I really did like their products. They kind of annoyed me, first of all, because I just kept seeing the shampoo everywhere. They were kind of like the Emma Mattress of the podcast world. Like they were sponsoring everyone and anyone everywhere. My brother Robert actually got me into their shampoos but he loved the shampoo, so I ordered my own. And I absolutely loved them. I love them. They were so, so nice. It was nice to use something other than Head and Shoulders that didn't give me like a dry scalp. The concept of customizable hair care I thought was really clever. And the concept of customizable skincare was interesting at the time. I love the packaging of their customizable skincare, some of them. They got in touch with me, and after a few months of testing their products, I was like, okay, yeah, let's do the sponsorship. I love the cleansers, a serum in particular, and a moisturizer. But once I was done with them, I kind of moved on to the next thing, and so did everyone else. I feel like they were kind of like ahead of the time, but that time never came. They kind of launched at a time everyone was talking about customizable skincare being the future of skincare. And that's something I feel like people say every single year, and it never happens because I don't think people truly really want that. Otherwise, it'd be huge. Everyone would be doing it. People nowadays know their own skin. They know ingredients that they're after, but most importantly, they know what they want for their skin. Their skincare goals. They don't really need to do a quiz. And on reflection, the questions can also be kind of limiting to what you can get for your skin. What your skin actually needs. You're kind of being pigeonholed into a particular kind of skin type. I feel like the idea is cool, but I would have bought their brand if it was just a selection of skincare products in nice packaging that did a good job. It would have been way more effective, but also I feel like the customization is also kind of a bit a bit of a trick looking back on it now, because there are only so many products they have available, and it kind of matches with what you match with the best rather than what your skin exactly needs. So, you know, they seem to still be selling, so they can't be doing too bad, right? Okay, I'm going to slug. I'm going to slug with two different products. The Buffer Jelly from Experiment, which is extremely nice and light, but it's a little heavier than this one. This is the Build Skincare Bee Balm that I like to use on the oilier areas and this on the drier areas, only because I like using them. I can use this happily all over my face, this one as well. I feel where I'm really porous, this has been helping me loads with kind of like making those pory areas look less dehydrated and textured. Oh my God, Kardashian's Chroma Beauty. I completely forgot again this brand ever existed because it's more than overshadowed by like Kim's brands now and Kylie's brands now. I don't know what the other ones are doing or what their names are really. Oh, I wrote them down. The Chroma Beauty is now a non-existent beauty brand of the Kardashian sisters, Kim, Khloe, and Kourtney. Kourtney with a K. Back when this brand was created, the sisters were arguably as popular as each other. I don't remember like Kim being the headline one for too many reasons. We all know the reasons. She was more well known, not necessarily more popular. People thought them as a three to be like a big brand powerhouse, but I feel like this brand kind of proves that they're not really in any way that. And this brand is probably the reason why Kim kind of like branched off on her own. Chroma Beauty launched back in 2012 with a whole face palette called Cardazzle. And the brand also included lipsticks, glosses, and even nail polishes. So they kind of did everything. I know they did hairsprays and mousses. However, the brand was like barely even around for a year before they also got slapped with a lawsuit. Can you guess what for? It's a Kardashian. So what do you think it's going to be? Copyright infringement. Some things never change. The lawsuit was brought to them by Chroma Makeup, spelt Kroma. And their name had been trademarked back in 2010, and they were obviously suing because the name is too similar. The brand's owner, Lee Tillett, was suing for $10 million, claiming that they stole the name, therefore stealing business from her essentially, rendering her brand completely non-existent and useless. The judge ruled in her favor and Chroma Beauty changed to Kardashian Beauty, which you might recognize. The brand actually did okay, not great, but they sold enough to still exist for a fairly long-ish time. However, another lawsuit was about to just destroy the brand completely and forever. So after that lawsuit, the original Kardashian Beauty business partner went bankrupt, completely bankrupt, but they were bought out by another business, Hilaire Capital Management, for $10 million and basically saved the brand. However, the Kardashian sisters were not happy with this business for some reason. This transaction, the new kind of like law of the land, the new deal, and they protested by basically never talking about Kardashian Beauty ever. They didn't tweet about it. They didn't talk about it on their reality series or in interviews, nothing, no mention of it. So then Hilaire Capital tried suing the Kardashians for not holding up their end of their contract. Suing for 10 million. Everyone's just saying 10 million for everything, plus 180 million that they were expected to have made with the Kardashian brand. It's going to use the e.l.f. Squeeze Me lip balm in purple flavor. It's great. I love it. However, the Kardashians claimed that Hilaire Capital didn't hold up their end of the bargain when it came to royalties, and the judge actually sided with the Kardashians, rewarding them $11.5 million in damages. I like to go to bed wearing a fragrance, a light, non-intrusive one that just smells clean. This is Juliet Has a Gun Moscow Mule. So there we have it. Those are some of what I consider the more interesting failed beauty brands. Let me know any more that you missed. Are there any that you like loved and then they just disappeared? Let me know in the comments down below. Why don't you check out my series When Beauty Turns Ugly here? I think you'll like that. Some general light entertainment here, and I'll see you over there.